Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case community. Welcome if you're currently here in the live premiere tonight. I appreciate it. We're continuing on, and I'm going to be sharing with you some deep thoughts today. It's time to analyze the situation with people once again, because things have shifted over time. Allegiances have changed. Certain communities have imploded upon themselves, and people have moved away from it. We've seen the Noah's Ark effect taking place a few times now. What we are now experiencing, and this is the new term to be added in, is the human centipede effect, where when things go wrong for some people, they go running and they all regroup. They turn into arse lickers, get stitched together from mouth to rear end, and follow in a singular linear pattern and direction in focusing on someone and calling them out in an unnecessary way, which is thus causing additional disruption, especially when one is covering a case with a level of a serious tone, okay, to say the least. That is what we're going to be looking at today. So make sure to stick around from start to finish to truly understand what we're talking about today, okay? First of all, shout out to Cleo and Badger Life for their presence last night. Super chats, very good of them, much appreciated. And of course, people that regularly watch, it's good of them too. If you haven't already, make sure to catch up on my previous videos. I will leave a link down below in the pinned comment section if you wish to check them out, as well as some additional links, okay? As we do go throughout this video, make sure to use the live chat box on the right-hand side of the screen, share your thoughts, opinions, reactions, and I would say maintain a certain level of focus today, okay? I think some people managed it yesterday. It's one of those videos, okay? It's one of those serious ones where I need to address a few things, my opinions, my thoughts, my analysis, and what's currently going on in the Dylan Rounds case, besides everything else. So hopefully you can follow and understand what I say, okay? What we can also do is check back at the previous comments of the last video, catch up there. There are less comments this time round. It won't take us long, and it'll also provide other people to join on in and catch up, so we're kind of all in sync with one another, okay? So without further ado, let's begin there and then progress onwards. Here we are. I'll just arrange it so the newest comments start from the bottom. Now, most of the conversations did take place last night in the live chat, and I will be addressing some of those points, okay, shortly, so make sure to stick around. But first, the comments here. We got someone called Drew Smith. You literally spend the whole video acknowledging people that are irrelevant. Shaking my head. Clickbait. So, once again, we've got another default profile. Once again, false allegations, accusations, labeling the video as clickbait when it's not. Okay. So, does this give off hints and signs as to who could be responsible behind the account? Maybe. You never know. As said, come across these patterns and trends with time. It does get a little bit too predictable, okay? But it is what it is. Now, the thing is, this person called Drew, default profile, zero contribution to the case, a dead-end channel. Are you really in a position to be speaking? I mean, you say these and those are irrelevant, but to be honest, so are you, okay? Anyway, Just Jen saying, once again, I've had people being rude in the chat. I don't know if I'll be back. Okay, so everyone in the chat right now, everybody watching right now, what is going on? Can anyone in the chat explain what's happened? Okay. I believe I saw a comment or so last night in the live chat calling out Just Jen as well as Joy Perry. I don't know if there's been some kind of back and forth argument there, whether it's happened before in the past, I'm not quite sure. If anyone can fill in the blanks, make sure to do so. If there's anyone that truly believes that Just Jen has caused problems, at least elaborate in the chat or comment section. So then we can make more sense of it and then come to a conclusion from there, okay? As for my experiences with just Jen, although limited, from at least what I'm aware of, I've not come across anything negative with Jen. She hasn't caused me any trouble, so I appreciate that. Let's just check what the responses are, if it fills it in. Obviously, I have no clue why they said I'm causing drama with Joy. Tom saying, please stick around, I enjoyed your input. And Jen, wow, thank you. I do like discussing the case with nice people like you. It's like, if there isn't people like you in the chat, they completely ignore me in discussions. That's good to hear. Thank you. I think the same. So, Jen, just as a possible suggestion, not that it's the case, but to take in mind, if you yourself, Jen, feel like you're being ignored by other people, is there a possibility that other people have blocked you for whatever reason in the past? And if you're chatting right now in the chat, people aren't going to see you if they've blocked you. Does that make sense? That can explain why you feel like you're being ignored, possibly, right? But I said, if anyone can fill in like a backstory, some kind of background of what is going on here, feel free to do so. As I said, I've not really seen anything bad with Jen before. The other suggestion is, Jen, if there are some people in the chat you don't like, you don't get on well with, or they drag you down, just simply block them. Simple as that. You can block them. You don't have to see those comments again, but you can still, continue chatting with people in the chat like Tom, maybe Christy, some other people, etc. Okay? What else do we have? I was an eruption today. My mistake. Do you mean eruption like a volcano or an interruption? But you didn't cause any problems last night, Cleo. It was other people that were being a little bit problematic, and we'll get to that later on in this video, so make sure to stick around. Indiana, a Dylan Rounds comment. That's good to see. What did she say? Dylan Rounds, would anyone have missed me if I was gone? James Brenner thought so, but he was wrong. Now LE officers have the video in their hands, yet why the delays? Hard for us to understand. Brenner is boxing clever, hopes we will forget I'm just an old man to others, I am not a threat. I could only do 25 years as live to tell the tale, no more in a cell where nightmares assail. Dylan haunts my mind, but I can haunt yours, putting in the knife just so I can even scores. It wasn't me, but you failed your own son, so don't come to me as what is done is done. James Brenner. I think this was one of those poems by Indiana in relation to the Dylan Rounds case. That was a unique one, okay? Tom saying, wow, I missed you. Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, Indiana has been, appearing in chat for quite some time, so they've been very consistent. Shout out to them. As well as providing poems. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Do you approve of Indiana's poem? Is it better than the last? Let me know. What else? Jacqueline. So just as a heads up, we're going to be looking at another Jacqueline later on in this video. Jacqueline the Mama Lioness. Okay, make sure to stick around for that. More resistance to come. But this Jacqueline, this person, they're a good individual. Been around for some time too. Watch him. They say, no excuses from you, sir. Take a few days off. Do as you're told, lady. Wait, is she calling me a lady? I think she's saying, listen to me. I'm the lady. I guess so. Take care. So appreciate that. What was the response though? You should have some downtime though. So make sure you do. 2 or 3 days won't hurt whilst it's quiet. Oops, I meant laddie earlier. Ah, that makes sense now. Well, I guess maybe people could get confused if I'm wearing that wig. But yeah, obviously no harm in taking a break here and there, but this video right now is kind of important to do, relevant from last night, but maybe a break tomorrow. Just see what happens next, right? I have felt though that if I do take a break, like if I've been doing it for a month straight, videos every day, and then let's say I took a month, let's say I took 1 day off from doing videos. The next day I'm like, oh damn, it feels so long since I last done a video. It's weird. There are times in the past where I spent nearly 40 hours, 4 days straight, making a high-end cinematic edited video and piecing it all together, making it as perfect as possible. And it was, it was draining. I wanted to smash my head against the wall. And then by the time I finished, literally by the time it was posted public, and then later I went outside, I just stood there and I was like, oh, I'm re-energized. Let's go back at it all over again. It was weird. It's weird how that happens. If any, the recovery was like that when it comes to lifting weights. Anyway, who's this person? Leanne Sophie just cites how to life and service off-grid farming. Right, so I think maybe Leanne was summarising the pages which Dylan Rounds were following, liked at the time, possibly. Now, when it comes to Leanne Sophie, I believe an individual that may have originated from Scott Natal's channel, but most definitely was present during the Kenny Veach M-Cave case coverage about a year or two ago. So I do remember them, and they've still stuck around, so that's good of her. Is that it for the comments? It seems to be. So it's now time to move on to the main part of this video. If you have just suddenly joined, welcome. You can rewind back if you want to, but what I want to be talking about here is to do with the Dylan Rounds case and community. It goes hand in hand because with the case comes followers, some investigators, others keeping the case alive, coming up with their own thoughts, ideas, theories, right? You look at YouTubers or once YouTubers covering the case with their different styles and methods, and someone like me too, right? It's kind of the same as if people did it on a forum, on Reddit or in Discord, talking things through, theorizing with ideas and just making sense of everything, and maybe collecting bits of material and evidence as well, whether it be to directly solve the case, just make a bit more sense of it, to tie up loose ends, whatever it may be, right? It's kind of the same thing. So why is it such a big issue to some people out there? You get what I'm saying? Of course you will get the YouTubers, content creators, and people from further afar that may cover a case very inaccurately, in a very dodgy way, a level of disruption as well, a bit all over the place. Those sort of people, okay? You could suggest at the time Salty Pancake's channel, Salty Pancake's audience members, a couple of them or quite a few of them back then. Salty Pancake's hardliners back then, now, whenever, right? Levels of disruption, levels of certain ideas being talked about, thrown about, but not treated as theories or, just simple ideas, thought. It was more turned into facts, events. So some people actually believed in it. Some people assumed that's what happened. So then it was relayed on throughout YouTube for all the other creators. And what did that do? It was just a backlog of BS. And with time, it faded away, and some of it was cleared out the way by debunking it, right? Other information coming on in, conflicting with the previous, knocking it out the way. That's basically what happened, okay? Can you apply it to other channels out there? Could you apply it to the dark side? Could you apply it to the undead horde of zombies? Well, you can, because there's been BS there, right? Maybe not as much as Pancake's channel, but a level, and more so exaggerating and really ramping it up, the significance and importance of material, evidence and interviews which are either not relevant to the Dylan Rounds case or they just don't tie in with the event of Dylan Rounds going missing. But it's all done as like a business strategy to, round people up, gather, round up. It's time for the circus performance. Oh wait, no, that's Johnny Yarborough. Oh, sorry, gone down the wrong pathway. Anyway, you get the idea, right? But you tone things up, you exaggerate, you get people hungry and thirsty, biting at it, and then you release it eventually. And if people are brainwashed enough, they will think, oh, wow, goody, goody, this has really excited me. Thank you, master. Thank you, ring circus master. Can you whip me back into shape once again so I don't deter elsewhere? Because if I do, I'll probably get in trouble. Yeah, something along the lines of that. You will get people satisfied with material and content presented, even if it doesn't link or solve the case of Dylan Rounds, but people, some are easily pleased and some are yes men, yes women. That's what happens. And it's not just in one community or one channel aspect or one platform area. It can apply across all boards. Always take that into mind. You know, like with the Zav girl situation, still ongoing, still people going after her, but only her. What about the other people? Seems a bit of a bandwagon at times, but we'll get more into that into a separate video sometime. I probably will receive resistance for it, but oh well. That's just because people don't, you know, people are lacking reasoning ability. Simple as that. But, you know, dragging it back to the Dylan Rounds case, these channels over time, right? While she can call out the channels, the content creators, whoever they are, wherever they are now, you also need to acknowledge the audience as well. If you've got a bad channel out there or a level of darkness, but then you've also got followers, supporters, people that look up to it and watch and listen and may interact, technically they're just as bad as the channel owner, right? But what you may find yourself happening, or see happening, I should say, is that down the line, when certain channels are exposed or it starts crumbling upon themselves, the audience or the higher ups, the hardliners, eventually may walk away. Are they excused? That's what you got to try and understand. If you think about it, the fall of Berlin in the past, SS breaking down in formation, higher ups and commands passing away, maybe via ending one's own life, etc., so they don't get captured by the Russians, etc., but not all of them were able to escape this life. Others were captured and brought on trial. I think it was the Nuremberg trial or something. Okay, they were also held accountable at the time. Okay, so treat something like that, the Nuremberg trials, as if right now. Okay, some people are going to get very triggered by that comparison, but it is what it is. Got to use extreme examples to penetrate the mind, because some people are a bit too thick-skinned for their own good. Okay, got to penetrate that shield, enter the neural pathways, so then they truly understand the message, the symbolism behind it. Okay, so with time, the Noah's Ark effect happened, whereas things imploded, channels crumbled, some were exposed, audience members had a bad taste in their mouth. They wanted to get away from it, so they moved elsewhere. And whilst that can be a normal thing to do, you got to be wary with those individuals, okay? They might branch away. They may come towards you. Is that a positive? Well, being honest, it's a positive in the sense that you've got a new audience or new people coming on in, maybe a fresh mindset, different perspective, whether it be from Pancake's community or the dark side. And as we know, when it comes to the dark side, a fair range of people have come from there, and including some of the higher ups and more well-known individuals, all done as a natural process, all under control there, simple as, right? But whenever people do come on over, there needs to be a level of cautiousness, especially if you have come up against them in the past, regardless of the situation they may have been in. You know, you got to be cautious just so you don't get stabbed in the back or screwed over any further, okay? Has that really happened to me? Not really. I've seen a few individuals, I've seen a few knobs over time, the way they've behaved, their attitudes, whether they be delusional, very defensive, very resistant, maybe name-calling, maybe swearing. It's really not the end of the world, but you get an idea of who is who and what they're capable of and where their allegiances lie. And if you do get those type of people where they're linked with someone, supporting someone, even when that individual they're supporting is in the wrong, that's where you must be cautious of the followers. If the followers think that is okay and acceptable, then maybe they themselves are also capable too at some point. So they, for whatever reason, do branch away down the line, they could do the same thing to you. You always got to be careful. I think one thing to acknowledge is, at the end of the day, besides the Dylan Rounds case as a whole, the true crime community could be very toxic because it just simply attracts criminals and ex-criminals into the whole community, right? Why? Well, it's because maybe criminals, ex-criminals, they've got experience with getting in trouble. They've got experience with certain crimes. They may relate to current crimes going on, so they involve themselves in a true crime community, etc., etc. Even if it's small-scale crime, they may get interested at the end of the day. And what the problem is there, you got people like that with that type of background, whether they reoffend or not, is what they could do next. And I know you'll get some other do-gooders out there that will say, it's all in the past, man. You know, you've got to ignore. You got to hold hands and see pretty sparkly rainbows, and shake sunflowers so the seeds fall out, and then we can grow some more sunflowers, and then we can put them on our hair and create daisy chains. Oh my God! Right, calm yourself down. Okay, just rethink things, because we have seen it ourselves within the Dylan Rounds case, and it can apply on a holistic scale. Right? People have done stuff in the past. Certain personality, certain behavior, certain characteristics possibly driven by it. Whether it be an action or a reaction, they've done what they've done. So you've got to be a little bit cautious with those individuals. Any place, anytime, anywhere. And because we've already seen, what do people word it? Ex-felons, ex-criminals, performing in dodgy ways, causing trouble, disruption in the case, dark side or not, potatoes or sprouts, whatever. It's caused problems, okay? So I think that kind of summarizes that area up, for what's happened in the Dylan Rounds case. At the end of the day, the Dylan Rounds case is once again another missing person case, but in a true crime format because of what happened to Dylan, involvement of murder, right? But, that aside, you got to ask yourself, if Dylan Rounds was just simply a missing person and there was no true crime element at all, is there a possibility that only then the case would have been treated better, or the community would have handled the case better and it wouldn't have been as toxic? I'd say there's possibilities. Right? I mean, it might also take, you also need to take in mind, who was involved from the beginning, right? Regardless if it's true crime or not. If it's a missing person case, it's a missing person case. And if you do have investigators or media coverage of channels, whoever, any person out there, that involved themselves at the beginning with Candice Cooley, Justin Rounds, whoever, it's inevitable, unavoidable, okay? So even if you wipe out the other set of people, right, and bring in some others, there still probably would have been friction and tension with the others because they were there from the beginning, and that part was inevitable unless someone never took on the case to begin with, then, and you had some different people coming on in, it might have been a different scenario. And if not that, if no one involved themselves and it was just like a bit of a cold case, fell flat, went a bit quiet, then obviously there wouldn't be any trouble there, okay? You got to ask yourself though, at the end of the day, out of all of that, what's happened, how much damage has it caused to the case? How much disrespect has it demonstrated? How much of it has it tarnished the legacy of Dylan Rounds? Feel free to share your thoughts in the chat right now. What's your thoughts about that? I'm going to give you my ideas now, okay? The way I see it, has it caused a lot of damage in the case? No. Despite everything that's gone on, it's not really caused much damage to the case, but it may have caused damage to people's lives that have involved themselves in a case and their own life has been impacted in some way or another, okay? And that's just basically because you're in a community with the wrong people, wrong place, wrong time. Whether you cause it upon yourself or you just mind your own business, anything can happen, right? And that's what has happened. So Dylan Round's case, the people handling it, the police, the private groups out there, the searches, which I guess are still continuing, even though we've not really heard much, that is still going on. When you think of people that may have been out there, Lance Kelly, Ty Corbin, Arizona Traveller, supposedly, maybe a few other people, maybe Candice Cooley has highlighted that they're not doing any good, they're not helping, it could cause trouble, they could disrupt the case, it could contaminate evidence, it could go wrong. Has that ever really happened? Not from what I know of, it's never happened, but it's always that possibility of something could go wrong. It's just one of those things, right? What I will highlight is not so much damage, but more so missed opportunity. Despite all of the disruption, despite all the other channels out there acting out in a spasmodic, spasticness way with some of their delusional audience members and yes master, yes man, yes women type people, put that all aside, you got to look at key critical evidence which was never retrieved or, analysed successfully because it was left too long, or it was contaminated by the people within the case, right? Been quite a few missed opportunities there. Very quickly on the spot, 2 key locations, possibly the grain shed and another location where dogs, cadaver dogs, over the course of months, however far back that dates to, okay, reacted in a certain way in 2 specific locations as if they found a scent at the time, something to do with Dylan Rounds. But Candice Cooley said it was never forensically tested. Well, that's a big problem because it could have had traces of Dylan Rounds in that spot. You could have used it as a starting point. It may have been some evidence, at the time at least, earlier on, to suggest that, obviously, Dylan Rounds has been taken from this earth, as you can see here, because why else would the person be buried, right? It would have given a bit of a better idea, right, earlier on. Other missed opportunities, I guess, would be Dylan's pickup truck, the red burgundy pickup truck at his farm, possibly used in the disposing of Dylan Rounds, but never could retrieve the mileage, the last 100 miles, because family or friend started driving it afterwards after given a green thumbs up by the police to take it away, despite it should have been taken in for forensic testing, but that never truly happened, and that mileage was lost, and then that's it, another wasted opportunity. The other one being potential track marks in the wash, or in a wash, let's just say, never really followed up. Track marks eventually disappeared or got damaged, lost because of wintertime and the weather changing seasons, it being left that long. Cadaver dogs delayed early on. Drones delayed early on. All kinds of possible events, equipment, opportunities lost. If all of those opportunities were successful and people made the most out of them at the time and there was less incompetence, would Dylan Rounds be found by now? Let's do a poll, okay? Let's maintain this focus within the case. People in the chat right now, make sure you're listening, or at least try to, because it is quite important, this. Do you feel that overall, if all those missed opportunities were successful at the time, that people made the most out of them, would Dylan Rounds be found by now? Yes, no, no difference. Maybe an alternative option could be no, but would have been closer to the truth, closer to answers. Let's say there was new leads, okay? So that's what I would say. In terms of that disruption aspect and damage caused to the case, it's more internally what's happened. The incompetence, the failure of maybe the system, the legal processes, the police, how they handled stuff, and maybe the family as well, not doing it on purpose, but it happened at the time. So more internal damage was caused, or more internal failure leading to missed out opportunities, right? I'd say overall, the disruption and damage by the YouTubers and the followers across all boards all over It was more just noise and confusion. Maybe with that level of damage, as said, it mainly impacted other general public people that involved themselves in the case. So it's more of an outer layer experience away from the case, despite being within it, the community, okay? Other people just getting headaches, confused, not knowing what is what. Many people with time, let's be realistic here, many people with time walking away from the case because they just don't have the stamina anymore. They don't have the mental capacity anymore to take all of the resistance, the confusion, right? A lot of people have fallen, okay? Last Centurion, well, still standing from what I can see, okay? But yeah, that's the way I see it. What else? Do we need to mention any keywords? So as I said, Noah's Ark effect has taken place with time. I came up with that term as well. There are many terms, many usage of language, wording, nicknames, lightheartedness, ideas, coverage, material to do with Dylan Rounds, but also more so not to do with Dylan Rounds, being realistic, but been influenced by people over time. Okay? Warlike Wrath is the catalyst. Not the catalyst in terms of directly in the Dylan Rounds case, but just within the community with certain aspects and also outside of the case with more light-hearted stuff and other forms of methods. Okay? Warlike Wrath is the catalyst, the creator, the causation, the last Centurion standing. Okay? That's reality there. And you will see people demonstrating, mirroring effects with time, but it's never quite accurate. Hence why you see fake profiles and other forms and methods out there which don't really link, of course, right? And speaking of fake profiles, like more so in recent time, let's just acknowledge one thing, okay? With what's gone on with Pancakes, that imploding over there on a different platform, possibly Facebook too, Rumble, certain followers more branching away, including some hardliners. What happens next? Well, who knows? Where do they go? Who knows? Will there be any trouble following that? Who knows? Time will tell, of course. Whilst maybe this process is a hugging and kissing makeup session, a truce being called, allegiances changing and shifting, you still always need to be careful, just in case. Because at the same time, from my experience, I have received resistance from some individuals out there. I have been called out by some individuals out there. I have been labelled as this and that. And even if I haven't been labelled directly by them, they've approved of it in support of the individual that did it in the first place, okay? Pretty simple as, right? So you got that going on in the background in recent time. If you do want better explanations, of course, go on to other channels and they will talk about it more, okay? I'm trying to maintain a balance between the case, the community, and some of the external stuff. All these people, all these names do link back to the case because they involved themselves at some point, some time, okay? But it's been reinforced in more recent time by some of the hardliners, by some of the people directly within the Salty Pancakes community, reinforcing the fact that the Warlike Wrath backup channel was in fact a fake and Salty Pancakes was behind it. That's what the insiders have said. You call them insiders, ex-members, more recently ex-hardliners, right? See, this is the thing. Reality kicking in right now. Anyone, everyone in the chat and those watching in the background, make sure to focus right now, okay? When I covered it at the time, okay, when I became aware of it in some way or another, and I said what I said this person responsible from the way this looks, the way that was originally, before and after photos, material presented, evidence present, as well as simply me giving my analysis on the fact that due to the behavior, the wording, the language, in general, the personality it presents and mirrors is that of pancakes because of the wording, the erratic behavior, the labeling without much context, without the true proof, and so on, and going on a bit of a rant and meltdown at the same time. People showed resistance. People were in denial. Humans, some out there, did not understand, okay? So we'll just mention some examples right here, right now. Feel free to focus. You had Fast Eddie, a little bit delusional. Fast Eddie, not understanding, okay, at the time. Unfortunate. American Honey, not causing trouble at the time, I appreciate, but not believing in reality back then. IQY2, XYZ, chromosomes, I don't know, but IY or IQY2 with a profile picture of a white horse, if I'm correct in saying, they were very resistant too. Bit of a attitude problem, complaining, resistant, in denial, etc. Eventually, with time, humans out there must look at themselves and think, what a prat. What a prat I am. But, at the end of the day, okay, it's just one of those unfortunate situations. If you do have vulnerable people out there, both maybe physically or in here, they may be led astray, right? They may be brainwashed with time. It's a process, it's slow, it's wearing, but it's effective, okay? By the time you're brainwashed, you won't even know about it. You won't even question it. What does it take to break away from that, to wake up? And I don't mean go woke. We're not using some forms of buzzwords here, just simple wording, okay? What does it take to wake up? Well, either something that impacts them themselves by the person they're supported, like a falling out, criticisms, threats, whatever, something to awaken themselves, or an external event, moment, which then triggers them inside because they relate to it in some way, okay? That's what the situation is. Now, as I said, there'll be other people out there, like Kathy Waters as well, delusional individual, very argumentative, right? A lot of these people, okay, and more names which I haven't mentioned, have showed resistance, have had a bit of a cocky attitude at times, very argumentative, delusional, robots, some of them, okay, and more people out there. What happens now? I mean, you will get some people out there that will say, I'm sorry, let's move on, let's move forwards. In my mindset, the way I see it is, whatever happens now has happened or will happen. People will come here, go there, whatever. I'm still here, and for at least what I can do at this moment in time, cover the Dylan Rounds case in some way. All I say is, if we do see a wave, a shift in humans coming on over, former people that originally showed troublesome behaviour at the time, and they come in now, okay? They expect to be, oh, welcome, let's have a round of applause, let's throw some flowers here and there, oh, yes, bless you. No. No Tyler blessings for you at this moment in time, okay? More so, the focus is looking forward. So if people come in from the side, welcome, hi, okay? I'm talking, okay, about this case. You want to listen, feel free. You want to contribute in some way, feel free. You want to share ideas, feel free. But if you mirror, replicate behavior in the past, we're going to have a few issues, okay? And this is the thing, in general, the more resistance, the darker the shades get, okay? If there's too much resistance, maybe we go past 50 shades and we hit the number 51. Oh, I'm sorry, Inky. Are we fast forwarding in time too much? I'm sorry. But, you get the idea, okay? Hopefully there are quite a few people watching right now to understand what's going on, okay? Some people will already be complaining, of course, whether it be in the comments or afterwards, saying, what's it's got to do with the case or the video, the title? Well, it's a process and it follows in a certain way. Reflecting back on the past and now applying it to what's currently going on and what could happen next. Forecasting, predictions. I have done predictions with time, right? So, what are the predictions as of right now? Well, first prediction is Pratt's, degens, no, not degen island, but degenerates, spasmodic individuals, all these ranges of people. There won't be any apologies in certain directions, of course. That's a fact. There won't be certain apologies in certain directions, okay? But there will be elsewhere. A level of picking and choosing, okay? There will still be levels and possibilities where people may bend over backwards and kiss and then stab and stab afterwards. Back, forth, back, forth. If they've done it once, they can do it again. If it's in recent time, then definitely be cautious. Now, what else to suggest? Tom or someone talking about Bob Farrell's live stream last night, saying it was a bit of a disaster, a bit of a mess. The odd keyword coming out. So, watcher of crazy or something being labelled and attacked in some way. I don't know. I mean, as for watcher of crazy, she probably is busy. She probably does involve herself with a range of different channels out there, sharing her thoughts, ideas, getting on well with other people, making contacts there, helping one another out. So I guess that's good of watcher crazy, what she does, and whatever else happens can happen. Obviously, the more you involve yourself elsewhere, okay, and it might border on to channels which also involve the opposite side, things can happen. It's not great, it's not ideal, but sometimes it's unavoidable, right, depending where you are at that place at that moment, okay? As for watcher of crazy's activity levels, I'm not really aware of. The only time I do remember is not that long ago, before the downfall of Pancakes on Rumble, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe watcher of crazy was involving herself with Salty Pancakes. I don't know if they were sat around a table having a bit of a tea party or happy, smiley talk. Let's have lots of fun, nice community. Let's reconcile together. I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest, in general. If that's the case, that's the case. If not, people can, exaggerate at times, of course. But, I guess when you look at it, there'll be some people out there who are even more cautious that if a person sees an individual on your side going to the opposition, then all kinds of conspiracies go on in their mindset, instantly assuming without thinking that, oh, watcher crazy goes to Pancakes channel, oh, she must be a Salty Pancakes supporter, she's changed sides, oh, we can't trust her now. And then watcher crazy comes on back and then you think, what's going to happen next? That is what some people, have been referring to. That's an example of how, with the Dylan Rouse case, without thinking it through and just jumping into the deep end, it can cause things to be blown out of proportion, right? So watcher crazy, let me know your thoughts. What do you think about all of that, where people start jumping from one thing to another based off certain activity levels and who one associates themselves with? Feel free to add on if you wish to, watcher crazy, or if you want to counter any points, you can do that too. But all I would say in general, when it comes to me, of course, people can come, people can go, but those that may merge themselves, associate themselves with a certain side and look up to someone that has caused me problems, I just become a little bit wary, okay? It's a natural response, okay? In general, because you want to try and avoid, you want to, demonstrate damage limitation. If you're a dead-end channel, or if you're not a content creator and you're just simply a viewer, you can be as reckless as possible, right? But if you've got, you're in a certain situation, a position. On top, if you have covered previous stuff, archived things, you don't want that to be disrupted. You don't want your current actions to be, lead to a negative consequence, which then leads to a knock-on effect of valid, good videos in the past being taken down as well, because it's all linked to the channel. Get what I'm saying? I mean, like with Doug, no thanks. Did what he did, bad actions led to bad consequences, and then things being taken away. The genuine videos in the past, some of the important interviews which people looked up to and would refer back to, that's all gone. You don't want a situation like that to happen. If your channel has no videos on, no contribution to anything, then you haven't really got much to lose. And it's not so much what you have to lose, but it can also apply to the audience as well. What do they lose? They lose a channel, or they lose coverage on a case. They lose that only one voice keeping it alive, the catalyst. You get what I'm saying? You don't want a situation like that. And as well, if people use some of that material because it helps them in some way, where it be a distraction for them, if it helps pass a bit of time, or it's something they can reflect back on because it might help better their understanding of a case, if that's ripped away from them, then that's a negative externally. So knock-on effects, collateral damage limitation is necessary. Lockdown sometimes needs to be applied. High alert levels present, right? That's the way I treat it when it comes to waves, when it comes to the Noah's Ark effect, right? So I think, just very briefly, put aside Dylan Rounds, acknowledge that the next thing could be interpreted and twisted in a narcissistic way. At least acknowledge that. Put that in the air like an orb in the air, sky. Get your hands together, Tyler fella, throw your candles at me, throw your incense, whatever it may be, just no salt, only pepper, and clap your hands for the catalyst, warlike wrath. An individual that has made several predictions with time turned out right. An individual with the most stamina compared to anyone else out there, of course. Person that's covered all kinds of different material and different angles, aspects, and different personalities and different points of views, which no one else can do, and demonstrate balance, which everyone else has failed. Well, more like Wrath. Catalyst. I'm so big that I can't fit in the shot. That's what she said. Tasha, petty ass bitch, insulting me. My God. It's not my fault I can't fit in the bin. It's just, I'm fat at the moment. Anyway, that's completely off subject. Now, we need to drag ourselves back in. There's a bit more to acknowledge as for right now, okay? Besides the Noah's Ark effect taking place here and there, besides the rat infestation in the past being fumigated, what we do have now is the human centipede arse liquor effect, okay? If you don't know what that means, basically, collective people. At first, random individuals and some key names, things happen to them, or they feel like they've been attacked by someone, or insulted, or criticized, or whatever, wherever, more so on YouTube. They either go running to their master or their daddy, I got some problems, and then actions taken from there. Or they might form a subgroup, okay, like a terrorist cell group, get together and work things out. At the end of the day, it leads to a consensus, and that consensus being dislike towards a singular individual out there, okay? And within the Dylan Rounds case, I'm going to say it, reality is, anyone left covering the Dylan Rounds case now is a potential target. Anyone left covering the Dylan Rounds case now is possibly going to be disliked by humans out there, because there's humans out there that don't want the case to be solved. There are humans out there that don't even care about the case or care about Dylan's name, but they're just present to cause disruption for alternative reasons. I would know extensively because I've covered the Kenny Veach case in the past for over 2 years. Because there wasn't many people covering it to begin with, more people, more eyes on me led to positive experiences, but more so negative encounters as well. And what I saw was levels of resistance and behavior, severe or on the lower end spectrum. It highlighted that one of two things. Either they don't want it to be solved, the case, or it's because they're involved in some way themselves. And if it leads to it being solved, they're going to get dragged down and caught. Where do things lie here? Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll do a poll. We'll do another poll. The poll can be based off the levels of resistance over time, including more so now. Is it because those causing resistance and trouble and disruption, is it because they have a part to play in the disappearance and murder and desecration of Dylan Rounds? Or is it just simply because they don't want the case to be solved? Or is it because they feel threatened by the presence of one covering the case? Or is it because they feel jealous because they haven't got a channel to fall back on because they no longer have one? Or the viewers, the audience, don't have a channel to look back on or fall back on to because it's no longer there, the stability gone. Feel free to vote right now. I think we will get mixed results at the end of the day, okay? Besides the presence like a gangster's paradise when it comes to the Dylan Rounds case and people involving themselves in it, if they do have a bit of a shady ex background and whatever, doesn't always apply to the channel owners. It can apply to some audience members too. You never know what people are capable of or what they have already done, of course. But linking back to that human centipede effect, right? In recent time, we have, or more so, I have experienced and seen dodgy default profiles as if they were set up on the spot, but not all dating back to recent time though. Some dating back to 2022. But just random default profiles with, default profile picture, zero content on the channel, zero playlist, zero subscriptions, really basic. As if it was created, set up on the spot to be used to attack people, to cause forms of harassment. It's mild, it's not the end of the world. I've seen it before within the Kenny Veach case. Now, you can ask yourself, does it all link back to one person controlling multiple accounts? Yes, no, maybe. Or is it a collective group of people? Not everyone shows their face, not everyone shows their name, their username. Some hide behind an alternative account, as we've already seen in the past. One of those things, right? Oh yeah, and just randomly to highlight, before I forget, what was the last thing Kaylee referred to me as? A creep or creepy. Yeah, I mean, kind of rich coming from you when, like an alien trying to contact ET but gone wrong, gone the back end way, planted in the ground, upside down. Oops, I must have got mixed. I'm from Australia, do things down under. That might be where the methods have gone wrong. But yeah, Kaylee, a little giggle. Is what it is. But that aside, referring back to more so named individuals, we've seen Ty Corbin, the way he's reacted in recent time, because he's taken the line I said as an insult, a very serious one, despite how he's been treated in the past more severely, and yet he reacted badly to this, which was more of a prompt and a suggestion and nothing more than that. Buster Bratimus, taking a few things out of proportion as well. Supposedly Buster was on the verge of leaking some sensitive information with one of the viewers on my channel, and they posted it public in the comments or so, whatever that was about. Yeah, it's a little bit dodgy, I guess. But this is what I mean. Named individuals or not come with certain behavior and methods when they feel attacked, whether it be fake accounts or as everyone likes to use the buzzword doxing or exposing in some way or another, it becomes predictable. It's either one or the other, one side or the other. It's either the pancake potato pickers or the undead zombie horde. That's what it is. When it comes to the Lance Kelly community or the Candice Cooley hardliners, when they come on in, yes, they've got things to say. Some make paragraphs, some do all this, but that's about it. Fine, fair enough. We've had people over time which have been a certain way, normal, and then just magically changed like that. Kind of like Mummer Down Under. Supposedly an individual that followed me since day one when covering the Kenny Veach case or so, but I never knew who they were or who, their original username. And when I did ask him at the time, what was your original username? They said guess or something, and they were being a bit cocky, and it's like, not exactly helpful, is it? But then again, not as helpful or, no difference to the lack of contribution to the case you've involved yourself in, I guess. Just one of those things. But yeah, his behaviour becomes a bit predictable, okay? How they react to resistance or the resistance they show and push out becomes a bit predictable. You can kind of, sometimes when you feel like, oh, who do they really associate themselves with? Just look at their actions and behaviour, right? Verbal language, physical action, whatever it may be, it can link to a certain channel out there that does it themselves or get certain people to do things, right? Simple as that, okay? The human centipede collection of people that feel like they have been insulted or attacked or disrespected, or they don't like the tables being turned on them, or they don't like, when you give them a taste of their own medicine, they don't like that. So it's okay, whatever they do, but whenever it's put back onto them, they don't like that. So it's a bit one-sided, a bit hypocritical, which is typical. I've seen a lot of hypocrites with time. I've seen a lot of impetuous people demonstrating egocentrism. I've seen a few people demonstrating interactional synchronicity as well with time. There's a lot going on, right? Maybe people out there won't understand those keywords, but it's fine. It's all under control. Kind of what I've been talking about already ties in with those keywords, key terminology. Okay, so it should be fine. So the human centipede goes in a certain direction, waves and waves, certain accounts after certain accounts, or references made. That's how it works, okay? Supposedly Ty Corbin has taken a break from the Dylan Rounds case, and overall, fair enough, a few people have. Linda Cushing has also taken a break from the Dylan Rounds case, supposedly, from what some people have reported back after hearing from Linda in recent time. That explains why Linda has been absent. Fair enough. Linda Cushing is a Ty Corbin supporter. Ty Corbin taking a break as well, supposedly for 2 months. I guess Linda Cushing maybe taking advice from Ty Corbin to do the same thing, to de-stress and to get away from all the tension. But then Ty Corbin returned back in a space of a day or 2. Oh, maybe the flight was cancelled or something. Or the rubber dinghy burst and was sent back to the shoreline. I don't know. But yeah, references made about me, little digs here and there, references, So what they say they're going to do, they don't end up following through. I mean, to be fair, Ty Corbin saying, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to walk away, but then comes back, or references people he said he was not going to involve anymore, or involve himself, but still does it. Ty Corbin in that department is kind of like salty pancakes. Now, some humans out there are going to have a meltdown after hearing that, but it's an observation, okay? That's what it is. It's an observation. Mr. X is kind of like salty pancakes, okay? In the past, Mr. X, I'm not lowering my standards to you. I got better places to be, better people to see. I'm getting away from here. I don't want to be involved no more. No, I'm not going to be talking. I'm going to put you on mute. Okay. Then comes crawling back again, and again, and again, and maybe watching in the background as well, and much more. If you said you're going to detach yourself from a case, community, or individual channel, then follow through with it. If you don't, that credibility is lost. You know what I'm saying? You can't take them as serious, right? And the reason why I was saying how Mr. X, Ty Corbin, and maybe a few other people compare to Salty Pancakes is false promises made, not always delivering, okay? Salty Pancakes in the past said, man, I'm going to walk away from this. I don't want to involve myself with Jim Terry or Mr. X anymore. It's just petty. It's petty. I got better things to be doing. I need to cleanse them out of my life. 2 days later, oh, let's talk about them. Oh, let's restream their content. Oh, let's break away and get involved in selling some kind of copyright claim thing. Let's constantly refer back to them. Let's constantly utter their names throughout the whole video and throughout the title. For someone to say that they are sick and tired of a situation or a group or a person, and then to come back after and go against what they said they were going to do, makes you wonder why. Is it because they're not true to themselves? Is it because they, lack something? Or is it because there's an underlying reason that they don't like at that moment, but then afterwards they realise, damn, I need those people. Or, damn, things work out when I include them. Something like that. When it comes to me, the only line I've come out with, which I've not followed through with, is taking a break from YouTube. And I kept saying, I'm going to take a break. Never happened. It may happen eventually, but when I keep saying I'm going to take a break, it doesn't happen. So I'm trying not to say that anymore, right? And sometimes announcing it as taking a break sounds very abrupt and it can have negative effects. Simply slowing down is more natural. Just like if you used to cut down on food, if you're eating a lot of chocolate, if you suddenly stop, you're going to feel side effects. If you slow it down, it can work. When you're doing exercise, if you rush it too quick and you might be kind of overweight to a more extreme scale, you might have loose skin. If you do it slow, you can reduce that risk of it happening and it all going properly and naturally, right? So you can see these like little crossovers here and there, right? But besides that from me, Mr. X, I'm not going to come back here, but you do. Ty Corbin, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to get away from all this. And then you come back. Salty Pancakes originally. I'm not going to mention those people anymore. I'm going to cover other cases and new stuff. Oh, but no, a few days later, I'm going to return back to all this. You know what I'm saying? It becomes a bit laughable at times, but not so much in a nice, funny way, but more in a disappointing way. An odd way of wording it, okay? It's disappointing to see, but here's what it is. Some humans are humans, okay? It's where you've got to analyse what's going on in here, what's causing them to react in certain ways. Certain actions warranted for what they feel attacked by? No, not always. A bit blown out in proportions. That's what the issue is. Now, let's refer to another individual. Because while it's okay to refer to key names here and there with time, there's also other people you got to acknowledge as well. Joy Perry. Joy Perry has been around for some time now, okay? And more so last night, she was at her most disruptive level yet. Not appreciated, but she was able to share her thoughts, opinions, and whatever she was thinking. Though, if you try asking her something or just simply saying hi, it doesn't get through. It doesn't get through to her. So, lost cause, one of those situations, okay? All Joy Perry does is complain, okay? And for most part of it, it was more so external. Joy Perry calling out pancakes. Joy Perry calling out Kurt Wadsworth. Joy Perry, in recent time, calling out Lance Kelly. And so on and so on. It's all of this. That's all it is. Does it contribute to the case, Joy Perry?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't contribute at all.
Sorry, Bella V, I know that's insulting. I'm using your voice there. I'm running out of voices to do. As said, I don't know what Joy Perry sounds like, but I'm not too mithered. But yeah, Joy Perry, all this. Are you contributing to the case, Joy Perry? No? Oh, Joy, come on, let's jump for joy. No, no one's going to jump out the window. Don't blame you. If you're from Shenzhen, they've got netting outside to prevent the industrial workers from jumping out. Yeah. But Joy Perry, besides all this, what else have you done? You said you've got evidence, you've got this, you've got that, but then you don't have it anymore. Is that true? Yeah, well, that's disappointing, isn't it? Have you appeared on other channels? Yeah. Mirroring certain actions with certain behaviour personality traits as who you follow? Thought so. You get the idea. What I would say, though, aside, Joy Perry, all she can do is complain. That's all I've ever known her as, a complainer, a moaner, but not in that sense. Just complaining, whining, a whiny, whingy person. A whingy whiner, but not a winner. You get me? So whilst in the past it was calling other people out and maybe insulting them, using certain names, swearing quite a bit as well, it kind of changed last night. Instead of being directed at other people, it was also directed at me. The way she just effortlessly flowed with all her swear words back and forth towards me. And it's like, Joy Perry, while she's been around for quite some time, you have been given the opportunity to talk, share your thoughts and contribute to the case, and you have failed to do that. The only thing you have done is whinged and whine. And now you have the cheek to call me out. You have the audacity to start swearing and labelling me. Joy Perry, you're not in a position to be able to do that, okay? Someone that's got all this information and key stuff but fails to deliver when, questioned upon, that's disappointing, okay? The fact that Joy Perry, all she does is swear, F and Jeff, complain, she's already lost control of the argument to begin with. Try structuring your sentences better. There have been times in the past where Joy Perry has called Ty Corbin after a name of a bloody Thai curry. Thai curry, Tai Chi Corbin. Ty, oh, there goes my door, kicked in once again, Corbin. There's been several people with time that have got so confused about Joy Perry, her behaviour, her attitude, her wording, her language, it's severely lacking. And when it comes to a serious case where serious discussions are underway, it just doesn't work. That disconnect, disassociation with Joy Perry and the true key of the community, the case. The way I see Joy Perry's behaviour, it's very disruptive. She does have attitude problems. She does have a lack of reasoning, okay? She doesn't understand it from different points of views. She complains, she loses control very easily, she gets triggered very easily. Being realistic, besides the caps lock not being turned on, I wouldn't be surprised if Joy Perry is related to Salty Pancake's, one of Salty Pancake's viewers. That's just my thoughts, okay? The way Joy Perry types, her tone, her voice, her wording, all over the place, disruptive, hadn't really got anything positive to say or anything to contribute to the actual case of Dylan Rounds. Joy Perry is like Kathy Waters. Kathy Waters is like Joy Perry. It's like it's the same person. It makes me think, though, maybe when Kathy Waters was talking about having a pet parrot, maybe that was the name, the pet parrot being called Joy Perry. I don't know.
Joy Perry!
I don't know. But I said, no caps lock. When I did suggest it to Joy Perry, she got further triggered, like an eruption of a volcano, Pompeii. Sorry, Tasha, looks like Rome is crumbling once again. I know, my fault. But, yeah. Getting triggered. Now, why do people get triggered so fast? Is it because it's touched a nerve that there's a level of truth behind it? I said, just like with a case, you're trying to solve it, you're trying to make sense, or at least keep it alive, and people are coming on in, causing trouble, jumping on in, not doing much good, no contribution whatsoever. Well, maybe it's because they don't want it to be solved. Just like when if you call someone out or suggest or make an observation and question a person, but they show resistance, it's like that maybe you have got close to the truth besides the case. Like you have touched upon something no one else has, and that's why they don't like it. mean, this is the thing. When you are dealing with cancer, I mean humans, you have to go about things a certain way. If it's not going well in here at that moment, that time, within that community, you might not be able to take them as seriously. You might not be able to listen to them or like really internalize what they've got to say. Sometimes it's more obvious than other times. When it comes to Joy Perry, it's very obvious that she's erratic, attitude problems, disruption. You know, Joy Perry comes off as a person that doesn't care about Dylan Rounds and doesn't want Dylan Rounds found. Because if she did, she would have contributed more, provided her own ideas and thoughts, besides constantly calling out others out there trying to find Dylan or make a case about it, right? Ty Corbin, he's done his thing. He's done what he's done. That's acknowledged. Okay. Has he been successful? I won't say I'm in a position to answer that, but people watching, if you want to answer, feel free to do so. Okay. Was there any more links to be made? Well, I can refer back to it shortly, so make sure you're sticking around still, okay? When it comes to Joy Perry, when it comes to Ty Corbin, it's that level of childlike behaviour, name-calling and nicknames and messing about in that sense. It's not in a light-hearted way, though. It's more in a serious way, and that's where that childish behaviour kicks on in. Disappointing to see, but some fully grown adults still have the mental capacity of a child. Here's where it is. Sometimes, maybe looking at the IQ, you can get an idea of the situation of things. That's not always the case, though. Not always the case, but sometimes you can apply it. And as I said, besides those people I've mentioned, of course, there'll be others out there. Of course, there'll be other people out there, which I've not mentioned, but I'm not going to know every single name, okay? But I just want to spread awareness right here, right now, that whilst the Dylan Rounds case continues, trying to find Dylan Rounds, he's still missing, okay? Presumed dead, of course, but still missing, remains not found. Family doing whatever they're doing in the background, maybe the police too, and other private resources. In the meantime, you can simply keep the case alive as best as you can. As more people walk away, it does get harder, and the eyes are more on you. So, less room for errors, possibly. Just depends who's left standing, of course, if you've got critical people or not. But what I do feel is, because I'm one of the last few people covering the case, I'm more of a target, and more people out there with time, the human centipede effect growing, they don't like the idea of me covering the case. For whatever reason, who knows? Truly. Israel, does it tie back to that evolutionary competitiveness throughout time? Possibly. I did suggest that in the past, in the early days. It could tie in now because those people, their channels don't exist anymore and they can't get back. And those followers that looked up to those channels can't watch either on those platforms. So that level of frustration builds. I mean, the key thing is, which separates this format in general from everything else, is a fair few people can feel entitled to the point where they're so used to appearing on shows, on panels and call-ins and getting to talk and share their points of view that when they do come here, they don't get given that. They don't get that special treatment unless you have been on bad behaviour and other tools are used, okay? Shh. But, you know what I'm saying? And this can apply to really anyone, but more so to people what we've seen over time who have showed their true colours eventually, right? When in response to me directly. But it's the fact that you got live streams, you got call-ins, you got panels. People can appear on them. People can talk and over-talk others and trash talk, whatever it may be, and spread BS at the same time. All kinds of stuff. They have more tools at their disposal. They have a voice. And because they can do it on many different channels and panels, because they allow it, and that's what their format is with the true crime community, it can build and build and build to the point where they're so used to doing that and appearing on shows that they feel like they're entitled to the next channel they move on to, such as mine. But then that realization kicks in. Oh, there's no live call in here. Oh, there's no live stream. Oh, what's that? You're telling me that after all those channels and panels I've called in onto, that, despite me obviously seeing myself as a global star and a voice for everyone and the voice for the voiceless, that when I finally come here that I'm not allowed to talk? Oh no, that's not right. I'm going to see your manager, Warlight Raf. Oh, you are the manager? Unfortunate, right? I think certain levels of resistance ties back to that sexual frustration. Kind of like in the early days when Jim Terry, Mr. X, got very whingy and whiny because despite them being allowed on every other channel out there, they weren't allowed here on the channel. So they didn't like that. They didn't like that resistance. They got the pants in a twist, threw the toys out the pram, whinged and whined, then eventually moved on. Eventually. And then with time, you get different waves of people coming on in, realising, oh, I can't have my word, I can't have my say, I can't talk here. Oh, I have to sit back and be a good boy and listen to someone else talk. Oh, I don't like that. Is that just because they've got an entitled attitude that they think that only they can talk and that when they're talking, they don't talk with you, they talk at you? Yeah, I don't think they like it when the tables are turned where the opportunities are not present. That's when resistance shows too. So we've got levels of resistance. We've got levels of resistance of ex-hardliners branching off from channels and maybe coming here at any point, any time. Be aware, be alert for that. Then you've got resistance of humans out there that don't like the idea that I'm one of the last few channels standing covering the Dylan Rounds case when they should be the ones covering it. And then we've got the third factor, human centipede effect, certain behavior demonstrated, where they feel attacked, triggered by something, triggered by such as not having the means to talk verbally on a channel, that they get into a hissy fit because of that and show resistance there. Levels of resistance, different forms of triggers, okay? So of course, it's going on here, in recent time. It could be happening right now, tonight. Who knows what's going on in the chat? But it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate in the sense that trying to cover the Dylan Rounds case and you got these people doing what they do. But you also need to acknowledge that quite a few of these people will then go on elsewhere or down the line, or maybe it's happened already in the past where they suddenly say, yeah, why should people be causing disruption to the case? Oh, why should people be slandering Dylan's name? Or, oh, why should people be doing this? And it's like, you've done it yourself. You prat. You hypocrite. Right? As said, I've seen a lot of those type of people. At the end of the day, cover the case. If people come, okay. But if then disruption is caused, then it needs to be looked into some way or another, right? So yeah, I think what we'll do, we'll just move on to some screenshots or some material. Make sure you're still stuck around, ready for this, okay? First of all, let's return back to the individual known as Jacqueline Lioness, or Jacqueline Mama Lioness. Random individual that's popped up in recent time, complained, showed resistance. Let's read the comment out, make sense of it, and see if we can come to a conclusion of which community do they originate from. Let's head on over right now. Here we are with the comment. Now, this comment didn't originate on my most recent video. It's probably one from a week or two ago, I believe. Yeah, it was posted 12 hours ago. So, Jacqueline Mama Lioness. Ah, Lioness. Fair enough. I see, because of gender. Yeah. So, is Jacqueline Mama Lioness one of those strong, independent person? Maybe. But they don't seem too positive or happy. Besides them going for a single arm bicep pose, I don't really see much muscle or definition. That's kind of disappointing. But that, well, then again, I can't really talk because I'm on TRT supposedly, as King Simone says. Vitor Belfort products. What's going on? I don't know. Anyway, let's become more grounded with reality right here, right now. This response is from some random individual that's come on in. They do have videos on their channel. It's got nothing to do with Dylan Rounds. From the looks of it, they've provided no contribution to the case, but they still have quite a bit to say about other people, including me. So Jacqueline says, you need a life. Leave Candace alone. How about you get out from your computer and actually search for Dylan or other missing individuals? Right, so we need to analyse and break down this comment right here, right now. I do advise that everyone watching right now and those in the background to pay attention and try and maintain focus. Is everyone ready? Yeah? Are you sure? Okay. So Jacqueline's first response, you need a life. Other people out there would use the term, you have no life, or you have a sad life. It's a standard line used by the general public, civilians out there. That's what people do. That's the line people resort to. It's the go-to sheepish language, okay? But is it in the right context, Fab? Well, let's see. Jacqueline, you need a life. For a person to have a life or to get a life, they'd need to be brought into this world to begin with, correct? As they say, life is brought into this world. Life is brought onto Earth when the head pops out from the caves, okay? Head pops out and then voila, you grow up and you're on this earth, you have a life. As long as there is a person present, that their brain is somewhat alive, that they're breathing, that there's a living organism within, then there is a form of life. For Jacqueline to suggest to me that I need to get a life would mean I am not living, that I am dead, that I no longer am alive on this earth. You get what I'm saying? It's poorly used. Poor wording by Jacqueline. I'm disappointed already, okay? If Jacqueline was to say, I think, besides this, you need to do other things, do more meaningful stuff, do more physical, stuff, something like that. But to say you need a life, for one to need a life, they must not be on this earth to begin with, thus meaning they haven't been born yet. But I'm here, so your point, Jacqueline, is completely, 100%, utterly invalid. That was a waste of time, wasn't it? Well done. Anyway, the next part, leave Candace alone. Right, so already I'm getting the idea that Jacqueline is a hardline supporter of Candace Cooley, and that whenever anybody criticises Candace Cooley or just simply corrects Candace Cooley or makes some kind of simple observation, the supporters get triggered and come out in full force with their lines and paragraphs, right? That's the way I'm seeing it here with Jacqueline. Correct me if I'm wrong. If they're from a different community, feel free to elaborate down below. But the thing is, the reason why Candace Cooley has been looked at is because other people have as well. If you want balance, then everyone, or as many people as possible, should be looked at and observed in some way or another. That is balance. The true definition of balance is when you're in such a situation where you're in the epicenter of it all, and it could get to the point where with such balance comes you becoming the villain. That's where the balance lies, okay? That's where the resistance collects because of it, like a beacon. Jacqueline also says, how about you get out from your computer? So what Jacqueline is assuming that I am not a human, but either a GPU or a CPU embedded into a computer system. Or maybe Jacqueline thinks I'm the RAM Now, what RAM am I? Am I 12 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of RAM, or 32 gigabytes of RAM? If I'm not memory and I'm a graphics card, what am I? Am I a NVIDIA RTX 3070? Am I a Radeon RX 5000? You know, am I a Intel i7 or an i9? You know, what am I? Am I a computer? Am I a robot? Would that mean that's a compliment by Jacqueline, that I'm on a higher level? A computer level. Okay, I'll take that. So reality is, besides that, Jacqueline, all, if not most, of my videos recorded about the Dylan Rounds case and other missing people cases, which you're obviously not aware about because you don't bother watching my videos, impetuous fool. But I've covered Kenny Veach as well, Cave Mystery. All those videos, if not most, have been recorded, edited and uploaded on my phone. The same applies to all those photos I've taken of nature and uploaded over time on my channel, in videos or in the community tab section, okay? All with the use of a phone. A small device, but can do so much. That's satisfying. I don't have to rely on a big computer, even though I technically have one, but I don't have to rely on that. I don't have to do the editing on that. I don't have to use all these subscription services which other people do. I don't have to. It's under control. So for Jacqueline to assume that I am doing it all on the computer is once again invalid. So you're not really presenting yourself too well, Jacqueline, up to now. It's really disappointing. What else does she say? And actually search for Dylan or other missing individuals. So Jacqueline is more into the boots on ground coverage. She doesn't believe that coverage online is helpful. Jacqueline doesn't agree that social media, online presence, keeping a case alive, spreading awareness to allow other people to hear about it and reach the correct contacts, she believes that isn't helpful from this comment here. Okay, so yeah, that's really clever, that. Not. And, you know, the most embarrassing thing here by Jacqueline, besides all the invalid replies, is the bit where she says, actually search for Dillon. Who's Dillon? Dillon. I've never heard of a Dillon before. If you're referring, Jacqueline, to Dylan Rounds, Dylan, come on, Jacqueline. You criticise me for the way I cover cases, yet you can't even get the name correct from the beginning of a missing person. It clearly shows you're locked on an understanding of a case, a particular person missing. Clearly not, if you can't even get the name correct. This is what I mean. Humans like this, they disappoint me. You know, the disappointment with time, immeasurable, okay? Immeasurable. But aside from this prat, okay, let's return back briefly to Joy Perry, Ty Corbin, because I just wanted to add in another observation, okay? The current pattern trend is kind of like, what do you call it, high school type behaviour, if not before that. Resorting to insults, name-calling in a bit of a petty way, and so on and so on. All these like little references or digs, references to me, whatever, whether it be in my own chat channel or elsewhere on other videos, more so in recent time. And whilst people can laugh along and get on with Ty Corbin, Linda Cushing, Leanne, somebody else, are they aware of what Ty Corbin, you know, how he's behaving with me? That's what I'd like to know, okay? Just a random observation. Whether people are watching right here, right now, everybody that is watching, feel free to pass on a questionnaire to those named individuals. Like Linda Cushing. Besides what Ty Corbin has gone through with time, understandable, Linda Cushing, let me know your thoughts as to what you think about Ty Corbin's recent behaviour towards me, how he originally reacted to a misunderstanding of a sentence and how much it's blown out of proportion. and what he's resorted to since. Let me know your thoughts, Linda Cushing. Do you agree with it or not? And make sure to elaborate. Leanne, the person with the black hair, when you pop in and out, are you aware of Ty Corbin and his recent behaviour and attitude? Anybody else? Well, anybody else that looks up to Ty Corbin or communicates with him, what's your thoughts? If you want to show resistance, feel free to list the comments down below. Resistance is welcome. Or if you do think it's a problem, feel free to reach out down below. But if not, because you can't, you feel controlled, you feel like you're encased, you'll get attacked if you do speak out, I understand, okay? It's happened in the past, it could be happening again. But that aside, petty behaviour, name-calling, labelling, we can all do it at the end of the day. What good does it do? I don't know. Is it time for dodgy time? Well, not when I'm looking at this on screen. It puts me off. But, you know, at the end of the day, Joy Perry stretching her neck muscles, probably a full-blown workout for her. She can spew out all those nasty words and swear words and lose control. She can tense her neck so much that it basically, you know, increases in numbers, okay? So I've just got to get these words out, okay? One by one. The amount of swear words, the amount of disruption Joy Perry has caused is accumulative, okay? Pie chart, no, the pie's already been eaten by the looks of it. A bar chart, possibly. You know, the percentage, the stats, the ratio of focus compared to causing disruption, it's very one-sided, right? The numbers don't lie, just like the amount of rolls in Joy Perry's neck, it's more than a Swiss bakery produces in a day. Okay? That's what I'm saying. We can resort to this, but is it really necessary? Comme ça? I don't know. When it comes to Ty Corbin, yeah, it's a little bit zoomed out. Hold on there. Yeah, I know some people will say, oh, why are you using this screenshot? Why are you using this image of Ty Corbin? Because it's a photo of Ty Corbin and it's relevant to recent time. It's simple as, okay? Ty Corbin being busy at the time, fair enough. Getting on with things, fair enough. He did a little response video, okay? Was it a bit over the top in certain areas? Maybe. How did he, you know, follow on after that? Well, he continued onwards, didn't he? He did continue onwards. And it's like, well, what point does one stop? Who knows? But name-calling, insults, play on words, whatever, you know, messing about behaviour. I mean, does Ty Corbin have a leg to stand on at the end of the day? Because when you got Ty Corbin prancing about in the backyard or wherever, erratic behaviour at times, is it simply because the realisation has kicked in that Ty Corbin looks like Thanos from the Avengers Endgame? Is that really the case, Ty Corbin? I mean, the chin doesn't lie, okay? I know we can't apply it to Mark Terry here. Hopefully he doesn't get too jealous because of Thanos' massive chin. But, you know, the similarities are present. Whilst Thanos might be getting a bit, you know, frustrated. I've lost my Infinity Stones. Where are they? Ty Corbin, yeah, he's not even reached the stones. The marbles have already gone. Same could be said about that door. This is what I mean. Ty Corbin said to me that, oh, if you are going to leave YouTube, make sure the door doesn't slam back on your ass, man. That's the least of my worries. I don't have to worry about a door smacking me on the back. You know, I'm more worried about what Miss T is going to do when I turn my head around looking the opposite way. I don't trust what she's going to do, okay? But less about that. When it comes to doors, you know, am I scared of doors? No. I'm more scared of what I'm capable of when it comes to opening and closing doors, because the last time I tried opening one, I ended up walking away with it in my hand. So anyone, you know, I don't know, anyone present, make sure you hold the door open for me so I don't pull it off, okay? We don't want any damages, okay? How's this relevant here? It's not relevant, but it's just random reminder. So yeah, Ty Corbin, Thanos, trying to find the stones or trying to find some sense in things. And of course, Joy Perry swearing so many times, exceeding the character limit. Neck muscles tense, strengthened maybe, wailing voice possibly, but nothing will beat the amount of rolls than the Swiss bakery. Even the Swiss bakery can't handle. I think Joy Perry is going to be putting those bread rolls out of business. Whew, poor bread rolls. At the end of the day, the Dylan Rounds case itself continues on. At the end of the day, the level of silence continues too, in parallel. Is that a good sign? Bad sign? Let me know your thoughts down below. And leave comments down below in general. Feel free to like and share this video to spread awareness. If you didn't already know, the importance is, and tying in with the prediction I said from the beginning, is that there is probably more drama to come. There is more conflict and more concentrated than ever because there are less people covering the case. But those that are covering the case are probably going to be criticised more now than ever before, okay? In fact, whilst you will have hardliners marching away with time and more so down in the future, it's that awareness and alertness of where do they go, who do they then associate themselves with, and then are they going to cause more trouble down the line if they have already involved themselves with trouble in the past? You got to be careful, you got to be aware. Anything can happen, and maybe there is more to come down the line. And maybe not so much within the Dylan Rounds case, but it could infect another area later, another case. You never know, right? So, yeah. As for Dylan Rounds coverage, when there's a video to cover, it will be covered. If there is news, breaking news, it will be looked at and analysed. And if it's just simply looking back at the past, that will happen too. But at this moment in time, that's about it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something new, or you're better informed now and just more prepared as to what could go wrong next, okay? Because that's the importance. Damage limitation and knowing who is who and what people are capable of. Seeing true colours earlier on than late, and then going from there and following accordingly. So, I said, resistance, welcome. People lurking in the background, the depths, the darkest shadows and the abyss. If you wish to, feel free to come forth and leave comments down below. Sure, it may feel like having a muzzle on your mouth because you can't shout and scream in a live stream format, okay? But you can leave comments still. You can think before you speak and then leave comments. Your grievances of me, grievances of the case and whatever, and then go from there. We'll leave it there for now though. Thanks for watching, goodbye and good night.